Welcome to another episode of Beyond the Final Whistle with myself, Sanani Mangisa. Thank you so much from the reviews and feedback from the first episode. Keep the engagement going and hashtag Beyond the Final Whistle. This week we're going to tackle a bit of football, cricket, touch a bit on the NBA transfer deadlines, and also tackle a bit of rugby. Our guest for tonight are Dumam Songela, and then Coach BT is back on the seat as well. We're going to drive straight into it. Gents, let's chat a bit of football. I think Harry Kane won, Arsenal no. I think that's the best way to put it. It's no longer Spurs won. The guys on a great run, and we had a good football game last night.
It was an excellent game to watch because of, I think Arsenal didn't show up second half, and Kane did what he does best, and he scores in crunch time. And Arsenal, when the pressure was there, they didn't come through. And that's the problem with Arsenal over the years, is that they don't win big games. And they can't beat top 4 teams. That's the problem with Arsenal.
It's a London derby. It's a North London derby. They should be motivated for this. And then, it's a good Arsenal side, but they're just not getting it together.
The reason why they can't, I think they've been under Wenger's loop for a long time. And Wenger's loop is the top 4 teams have gone far and Arsenal has stayed what it is. Even with the big signings that they got with Obiamang and Mkhitaryan, that game was flat. They were flat. They didn't come through. The thing is, if you watch Arsenal TV, you will see how agitated Arsenal fans are.
For sure. They really want to see Wenger go.
That was an agitating game to watch because Spurs are a good team, but they just showed that they're the best team in London.
Coach PT, that's a big statement. I'll bring you in there.
Yes.
Currently, I would personally call Spurs the best of the rest. We know that Man City are ahead with all the points. Emma, would you back me up there, or are you against that when I say Spurs are the best of the rest currently?
Well, currently, yes, they've you could say they've caught up to the likes of Arsenal and even overtaken currently. But if you look at it over the space of, say, 10 years, then you'd say that they just caught up. If they can sustain this form that they're doing now, then you can say that they're the best in the rest.
Are you talking about Arsenal or talking about Spurs?
Spurs. Because it's only in the last 2 years that Arsenal have been out of the Champions League.
But here's my concern. Arsenal used to be the biggest team in London.
Yeah.
Now you've got Chelsea and you've got Spurs. Now they used to be the biggest team in North London. Spurs showed us yesterday that they're the biggest team in North London. And a star like Kane and all the supporting cast that he's got, they've showed us.
Yeah.
Arsenal is sinking.
Well, that's what I said currently. So it's up to Wenger, and we've seen now in the transfer window that if the right decisions are made by Arsenal, then it won't have to be a situation where teams have to get them.
Should Wenger stay? That's the thing. That's been the talking point. That's been the hashtag Wenger out. Is Wenger
the right person to take this team forward?
Is Wenger going to take the team forward? The problem is that Arsenal has been going through this, and Arsenal is a big team. And the only gripe they've got against themselves is because they've never won the Champions League.
Yeah.
Now they can't even finish top 4, which is what they've been doing for the last 10 years. Arsenal has been doing top 4 for the last 10 years.
With the Wenger out scenario, I'm going to throw it to you, is that upstairs commercial guys are going, yes, we want him out, maybe, but who do we get right now? Which manager is available for that position? It's a high-profile position. It's a sought-after position, but right now, who's available?
Conte, I think, was waiting for
Oh,
Conte.
come on, he's still in contract. Guys, he's still...
I think after Valentine's Day, he's not going to be a chance.
Carlo Ancelotti,
Okay.
and I've heard rumors, like in the blog sphere, about Eddie Howe, the guy who's coaching Bournemouth. And Brendan Rodgers, most Arsenal fans like Brendan Rodgers, who's coaching now at Celtics. Brendan Rodgers, the style of play that he plays, so there's a lot of avenues Arsenal can go. But the problem is, do they? Because Wenger has pleased the broad for the last... How long has he been coach?
Since 96.
96. the thing is now, Arsenal has to make a bold decision.
For sure.
They have to make a bold decision about, do they keep him or...
Well, as a commercial manager, let's say, you want to keep him, or as a club owners, but as I said to you, you're stuck in a scenario that your option of managers around and available at the moment. So would you rather stick with someone you know? You're not in the business of, unlike Chelsea, changing managers every season.
The coach killers.
So you want someone you're going to keep long term and who's going to build the club.
I think they should pull the plug on him. They should have pulled the plug on him years ago because he's outdated. The thing is, Arsenal got lucky when he started managing, because he got Thierry Henry at his prime, and he got all those players that he had at that time.
In space, yeah.
And it was Emmanuel Petit, the French brigade, because he was managing that French school. So now he's out of ideas. He's outdated. The managers, the way they're playing now, they're playing a different system to what Wenger defensively is deficient.
And going to that point, if you look at Wenger when he first came to Arsenal, he inherited a solid back four.
Yes.
He inherited a solid back
Definitely.
four. So all his attacking play was done with a good foundation. So what's happened over time is that he hasn't bothered to adapt it and bothered to look at that most important part of the game, which is defense. And recruiting defenders, we haven't had since the last solid defender Arsenal had is, say, Sol Campbell. And
he hasn't evolved. He's right. He hasn't evolved. Wenger has not evolved. Football now is about evolution. If you look at all the great coaches now, they evolved.
And another aspect where I don't think he has evolved is transfers.
Yep.
Because he's one of the managers who don't like this current trend of spending big money on big players.
Yeah, we've seen that.
But then if you look at the Man City, for example, that's an extreme example. They've invested a lot in the personnel. They're getting their return investment.
Back, yeah, for sure.
And if you look at the turning point for Arsenal when Ozil first came in, right? That brought him positive results.
Are you going to call that a turning point?
No.
That's not a turning point.
One of the many turning points which could.
They signed a player who was discarded at Madrid.
But
so that's not a turning point. The thing is, Arsenal, right? You know, we know what Arsenal needs. If you're telling me that when they signed a player like Sanchez, when he was discarded at Barcelona, and Ozil was discarded in Madrid, that's not a turning point.
But if you look at the impact those two players had,
for sure,
right?
That's
so what should have happened now further, because it was first Ozil, positive impact. He added on that to Sanchez, positive impact. Then he stopped.
Gents, I think we could go on about Wenger for a while, and let's touch on a bit about a player who's feeling uncomfortable at the moment. He wanted to leave a club, and that's Riyad Mahrez. He's came off the bench yesterday, 10 minutes to go till the end of the game. He's been a top player for Leicester, and now he's finding himself off the bench, not playing. Is that because he wanted to leave and the trade didn't happen?
I've got a hot take on that. I don't know between Leicester City and Mahrez who's got delusions of grandeur. What happened was, from what I've read into the situation, is that because they lost, who's this kid who's from Germany, who's a left wing, for Manchester City. So what City wanted was a replacement for that kid.
Sanani.
Leroy Sanani. So City at that time, during the transfer, wanted a replacement for Leroy Sanani. And obviously, as Leicester, you know Man City have got the money.
For sure.
They were offered 50 million in the player, and they wanted 80.
Push your price up slightly.
To push the price up slightly. And Man City said no. The same thing with Sanchez. Mm-hmm. It's exactly what happened to Sanchez, because Sanchez could have gone to Man City because he wanted to go to Man City, but Man City decided no. We're not going to get conned by this team, because the price of players now is being overpriced.
Especially when Man City is called.
Look, Liverpool paid 75 million for Van Dijk. They could have paid 50 before pre-season.
Yeah.
Like Coutinho, Liverpool raised the price. So it's about the price. everything is exorbitant when it comes to players now. So now, Man City said, we're not going to do it. Now, the delusions of grandeur come with regards to him because he wanted to get he had a great season. We saw that season when Leicester won the league. He had a great season. Is he worth 80 million?
No, I don't think so.
I don't think so too.
I think that's where the mistake comes in, is that those players failed to leave straight after the season.
Yes.
They were caught up in the euphoria of winning, loyalty. Some say if you need loyalty, get a dog. And they were caught up in that, being loyal to the club.
And Arsenal wanted what?
So
Yes,
both players, I mean, had they signed contracts straight afterwards, they would have sold for maybe that 80 million. But now it's different 2 seasons down the line, and it's just not the same anymore.
And from a business point of view, if you look at Leicester City and Mahrez, I don't think Mahrez's value will improve from now.
Exactly.
So maybe this was the perfect time to cash in on him.
The thing is, Mahrez now, where can he go? The thing, who wants Mahrez? Because most of the top teams, they've got Mahrez. The only reason they wanted Mahrez because Leroy Sané was injured.
For sure. So I think if we wrap that section up a bit, we just say, as a player, he needs to suck it up. He needs to play. He's at the club for another couple of months, and then if they want to sell him at the end of the season, he's not going to go to a big club. I don't think
Delusions of grandeur.
he'll go to a big club.
Which is now a shame on the player, because I mean, best case scenario would have been that Leicester City cashes in on him and lets him shine, because he's 27 now. He won't get another opportunity to make a big move in his career. So now, is that worth it for?
But when we close off, is that Mahrez, Leicester picked him up from the dungeons of French League 2 football. They picked him up there. So he's raised his profile like N'Golo Kante. Look,
It's good business to offload him. You got him for
Yes,
less than $1 million. Now you get rid of him for 60
I
million.
watched Leicester yesterday. They've got some youngsters. There's a kid that is playing there that is very good. That will probably, because Leicester, that's what they do. A club like Leicester doesn't have the resources. They've got young kids that can replace him. So I think offload him.
Yeah.
Let's keep it local for a bit. Nedbank Cup Challenge this week. I think Pirates were the big winners of the weekend, beating Ajax Cape Town 2-0.
Yes, I mean, for me, the Nedbank Cup, I like it a lot. It gives you get a lot of Cinderella stories.
Yeah, for sure.
Unfortunately, yesterday, Pirates, it didn't turn out that the Cinderella story happened.
We'll find another Cinderella story. I don't think Pirates Ajax.
But
was
if you
quite
look
the one.
at the match against Cape Town All Stars and Sundowns,
That was quite tight. 1-0 there.
1-0, and there was a player there, Chukwelo Ndlovu,
Okay.
and he, in the first 10 minutes, he was showboating. He was doing his business. And for me, that's what the Nedbank Cup is good for.
Finding stars of the
Finding
future.
stars. Andile Jani came through the same system.
Yeah.
Baroka FC as well. They started in this cup as a lower league team, being giant killers, and now they find themselves in the PSL.
Even Ria Stars, remember Real Thomas
Yes,
they came
They
from
started
that.
from
Yeah.
that tournament.
Do you know who I was rooting for yesterday, guys? And for Swallows. Swallows
They
lost to Maritzburg United, and I was rooting for Swallows because Swallows is one of those clubs that we grew up
So,
watching.
Swallows needs to be back in the PSL for football.
Swallows needs to be back in football. I think somebody needs to pay money to get Swallows. They need Patrice Motsepe money to be Swallows because currently in the PSL we've got, what have we got? You know, it's not a deep league, the PSL. You know, we need Swallows to be relevant. And we don't even have Jomo Cosmos.
Yes.
We need
the teams with a bit of culture and history and their supporters, for their supporters.
for the
Swallows.
because the brand, guys, the brand is not.
It's a great team, yeah.
I don't like the brand that we shown with local soccer. We still watch it because we love it. We grew up on it, you know. And the Nedbank Camp will probably enhance some of the teams, but we need good teams back and with a name brand, a recognition brand. And I was disappointed for Swallows. That's all I'm gonna say. That's what I saw this weekend. And
Teams like Swallows, they decline. Is it? Do you think it's self?
no, I think the decline of Swallows is because of administration.
Management issues, yeah.
It's administration. I think that is the problem we've got in South African sports is administration, and we mishandle a lot of things. I think Swallows slipped through the cracks with the ownership that they had. They used to have good ownership in the early 90s. Now, that's how bad it is.
Right, ladies and gentlemen, I think with that we'll wrap up football. We could go on with the gents for another few hours, but we'll save you and move on to the next one. Last week's NBA transfer deadline was probably the craziest I've seen in a while. I sat on my phone going, no, that can't happen. No, that can't happen. The two craziest ones was probably Dwayne Wade back to Miami Heat and Isaiah Thomas to the Lakers. I think, Duma, you were just as surprised as I was.
I wasn't shocked.
Weren't you?
I wasn't shocked.
Did you see that coming?
I saw that coming. Look, we live in the world of LeBron James.
We do.
LeBron James is the biggest superstar in basketball. He lost to Curry and Durant in the finals last year, but he's still the biggest superstar. So what has been happening with his team? His team is old and slow. And what happened was they lost Kyrie Irving to the Celtics. So
after he had said keep him.
Yeah, look, there's rumors about what is happening with Kyrie. Kyrie decided to leave because he wanted to leave the LeBron circus.
Yeah.
Because it's a circus show. It moves from town to town. It went from Cleveland to Miami and
back to
Cleveland. So that show, what happened was, in the trade, Celtics gave them Isaiah Thomas, Crowder, and a couple of picks.
Yes.
And that team didn't work. And it went as far as Isaiah Thomas.
It didn't work for sure, but we needed to give Isaiah some time. He had just come back from injury. We needed to make Dwayne Wade fit in somewhere. That was another thing. Dwayne Wade, can he come off the bench? I think he's proven that he probably can't. But were the trades backed up by the 8-game losing streak? Was that LeBron going, I can't lose another game. Give me guys who have more athleticism and more speed.
Next, those trades were because that team didn't function. There was no chemistry in that team. And the thing is, Isaiah came back to the team. He was injured for a long time because he had a hip injury. The problem was that Dwayne Wade is still a good player, but he's not going to help that team. That team needs to work off LeBron. So what happened was, the GM, they fired their GM, remember, the general manager who picks, they fired him earlier on. That had to happen. It's a result of the Kyrie Irving trade. That team has got no chemistry, and LeBron, they were thinking about trading Kevin Love.
Yeah.
Kevin Love was going to be traded. They wanted to trade.
And Tristan Thompson at once.
And Tristan Thompson, the Kardashian boy. so that, and the irony is that what that trade has created is they've created cap space for the Lakers. Because everybody's talking about LeBron to the Lakers.
Is it going to happen? That's the big question.
It's up to Magic Johnson and Rob Pelinka, the GM of the Lakers. Now, the problem with the Lakers is they've got this kid, Lonzo Ball, and his father.
That's a different circus.
That's a difference. So now, does LeBron want to go to that circus?
Yeah.
That's the only time. The thing is, Magic Johnson runs the Lakers. And the Bass family have given him carte blanche to whatever he wants with the Lakers. So
he's pretty fond of young Ball.
Yeah, but
or does he want to win another championship?
He wants to win. The problem with Lonzo is his father. Lonzo is a good enough player, but I think he
needs to do it on his own. I think the background chatter from his father is it's the noise and the chatter.
But I think this trade had to happen because if LeBron goes to the finals again, I mean, it's a result of them losing to the finals last year in the finals against Warriors. So if LeBron goes to the finals this year, I doubt it's going to happen. I think they're going to lose to a lot of teams in the Eastern Conference because the Eastern Conference this year looks a bit hefty. But I think it's up to LeBron because LeBron can carry that team.
Yeah.
So now
he's gonna have to do a lot of carrying because there's some players that are there and thereabouts that can help him, but he's going to have to put up some big numbers.
LeBron has been playing. He's been to how many finals in the last 10 years?
Yeah.
He's been to every NBA final in the last 10 years. So now it shows with data that players cannot play for that long, especially till June in the finals. I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen this year. I think the Celtics, with the kind of players that they've
They're
got,
playing, we need to watch out for them.
I think the Celtics are going to win the East, and they're going to give the Warriors a hard time.
Right. I think we've got NBA All-Stars coming up shortly. How's the vibe there? Now, everyone's been traded left, right, and center. We've got guys who, Kyrie still has to play with LeBron in that scenario. What's the mood like at NBA All-Stars?
Do you know that they've changed the setup of the All-Stars this year?
Yeah, the voting,
Yeah, the voting. So what they've done is like they took LeBron and Steph Curry, the biggest stars in the East and the West, because they got the highest votes.
Yeah.
So now they had to pick the players.
Like school
Yeah,
playground.
playground.
1-1. Okay.
And then what they've done as well is that they're going to pay the players who win like 100,000. I think the guys are going to.
And a lot of it goes to charity.
Charity,
as well.
yeah. I don't know. The All-Star game has been horrible for the last couple
For
of
the
years.
last years.
Because it's just nobody plays defense. It's just.
I think this might add a spark to it. But we should have seen the NBA maybe putting it up to a live pick. Because I think everyone.
Yes, everyone wrote that. Yes.
So you have Steph Curry, you have LeBron going 1-1, and a bit of Kevin Hart maybe, throwing in some.
They didn't do it. They didn't do it, and they should have done it because the All-Star game is still a marketing strategy for basketball, and it's one of those things that we don't have in this country where we've got All-Stars, where we've got a playtime.
Maybe it's the Black Label Cup, isn't that something?
That thing is awful, man. but I think it's going to be an interesting one from a spectator point of view.
For sure.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to put you on the spot. Eastern Conference Finals, your pick, and then Western Conference Finals.
Okay, Eastern Conference Finals is going to be between the Celtics and the team from Toronto, the Raptors. That's it.
Done.
And I think LeBron's going to lose in like first, second round. Western Conference Final is going to be between the Warriors and the Houston Rockets. The Rockets are on fire.
They are.
I don't think OKC is going to compete with any of those teams. The Rockets, I think, will beat Warriors and they will win the championship this year because they've got Chris Paul.
Okay, those are some big calls. Ladies and gentlemen, we've seen Duma make some big calls for the NBA Finals. Let's look forward to that in a couple of months and see if he's right. The Proteas never lose in pink. That's narrative, and we saw that last night. I'm not sure how much a colour can do for the team, but it certainly motivated the Proteas to go for 3-1. Back with us, I've got Tsepo Kokwadi and Uduma to discuss the Proteas. Gentlemen, the pink game. Narrative is the Proteas have never lost in pink. Is there such a thing as the colour of the kit you're wearing that day, or is this a little bit of extra motivation that they needed?
I think yesterday the stars were aligned for the Proteas. We got a bit lucky with the dismissal of Miller being overturned because of the. But I think the team came together, which has never happened this season. The middle order just came together and took us through. They took us over the line. We've had a problem. We've had a betting crisis throughout this whole season, from the test matches to this current one day. So I think yesterday, the stars were aligned, and it was the Wanderers does that with our players. It's the bull ring has got that kind of that atmosphere. I know Tsepo can say much because he was there.
Yeah, I was there. It was an awesome day. The crowd, just the vibe there was so electric. But I'm not one for superstition. I don't think the colour of the kit has anything to do with it. But I think, they were under pressure. And I actually think we were a bit lucky because the rain sort of worked in our favour.
Definitely, yeah.
Tsepo, I think we touched on it last week with new players coming in. We saw Claessen's knock, a solid knock. It's not 100, it's not a big knock, but it was needed at the time. So we said, in this interim where the senior players are injured, to see those guys coming in and scoring a solid knock like that is good.
Yeah, it was great to see Claessen's get some runs. I think the more time he spends out there, the better he'll get. He's clearly a good player, and he just needs more time out there. Just on just the game yesterday, I think Virat Kohli's bat needs to be checked, X-rayed or something, because he hit one drive. I think it went to the third tier.
You reckon that there's something in there?
There must be something in there.
he just hits it so cleanly. I think as a player, we've seen Virat Kohli man up, if I could call it that, for his team. Who are we looking at in our South African setup to do what Kohli's doing for us?
Well, our direct Kohli is AB. I think he's gonna come right. I mean, AB is class, world class, and he will come right. But I think the next couple of games are going to be quite tough for us. I think that Indian team is actually a very good team, and they put on, just under 300 runs with a decent bowling attack. At the Wanderers, bouncy, swinging. So yeah,
Jima, I think I should bring you in here. Personally, I've been a little bit disappointed about Miller because I hold him to a very high standard of almost, Warner type, that he can come in and he's not going to score slowly for you, he's going to hit the runs. But he just, we're 4 games in and he's just not kicked in.
That's been the problem with Miller for a long time. And if you remember when we had Australia here, when we beat them 5-0, Miller was actually the key to that 5-0 win. And Miller, when he shines, the Proteas are better. If you think about it, you think about that Klosner effect we had when South Africa was very good. I think Miller needs to come to the table in key games. And that's why we probably don't win most of the time, because he doesn't come to the table. And yesterday he did, after the no ball.
The no ball, yeah.
After the no ball. So that's the thing. We've got a lot of other batsmen. I believe that Makram, the pressure that we put him on, he also needs to. And Amla has proven over time that he's reliable. But I think Makram as well, as a young guy coming to the team, I don't think he makes as much runs in key games. He made runs against Bangladesh. But
should we give him a bit of time?
I think time. No, he definitely needs time out in the middle. But on that, on what Juma was saying, I think Miller is that kind of player, and he keeps throwing his wicket away almost. Yesterday that was a straight ball, and he played cross bat. I think he needs to work and find out exactly what his strengths are, and his strength is hitting the ball straight and hard. And this cross bat, it's tricky. It's you're taking a risk. You're taking a risk, and it's not. Use the full face of the bat and hit it over the bowler's head.
Definitely, I think with South Africa, the way that we're playing right now, you can kind of feel like there's no ideas within the team how they're going to play the spin, because we've had trouble for 3 games against the spin.
And I don't understand why, because it's not like they're bowling balls that are turning miles. It's not, are they not picking it out the hand, or they're not doing enough video footage and watching the guys bowl. So it's actually just very interesting. I'm baffled why they're struggling.
It's probably a good point to highlight it now and look into it as to why, because when we go to World Cup, it's too late by then when you try to play spin. So it's probably good that we've seen that we not great players, a weakness there, and address it now.
It has to be addressed, because history has told us that South Africa in big tournaments, they battle under the pressure. So now we are seeing this in 2018. We've got 2019 World Cup coming. We need to have ideas of how we're going to play such tough situations. So Otis Gibson and his coaching staff need to do that. Because like what has happened in the last 3 games, we battled, and then yesterday we got lucky, and we end up going over the line. But we need to have players that can not buckle under that pressure. That's the problem we've got as South African cricket.
And I'd like to just mention Andy Lepishagwai was
awesome. He won us a game. He won us a game.
This world, and he
won us a game.
I really believe if he can focus on his batting a little bit more. His bowling's been pretty decent. He could be a decent all-rounder that we can have there at 6, 7, or 8.
No. Andy, over the last 2 years, he's been the games that we've won, he's always come to the party and won us games. I think the guy has got big game temperament. I remember a game in Durban against Australia when we were chasing a big score. He came in and he's a closer. You need a closer.
Yeah.
I think if we look at that youngster, someone on the other team that yesterday contributed a bit of runs is Emma Stoney, and it got us to other side. We looked at the youngster, which is Angile, and we look at the other scale on the other side, which is Emma Stoney, who contributed a little bit for his team yesterday. And it got us thinking to who's the greatest wicket keeper.
Wow.
Oh, that's a big. That's
Wow.
But I mean, MS Dhoni, first of all, is an amazing cricketer. He may not have scored as many runs as other wicketkeeper batsmen because he comes in late. He is a finisher, so
Yes.
he comes in at 5, 6, 7, 8. But he is class. He is world class. I mean, he used to captain the team, and he's just cool, calm, collected. I mean, he's
Goes
been
about
there,
his
done
job,
it.
yeah.
Yeah, does his job.
So if we rank them between the Adam Gilchrist, Mark Boucher, MS Dhoni, Kumar Sangakkara,
Look, Kumar Sangakkara is a better
Kumar.
batsman. He's a better batsman than. Look,
the whole package, guys.
the whole package, for me, the way I see it is that who's won the most is Gilchrist because of he was playing in a great team. And Dhoni, what I remember with Dhoni was he came in 2011 World Cup final against Sri Lanka with no helmet on. He came on and he chased down a score to win it for his team. He was like, I'm not going to let anybody. Dhoni, I think, as a leader for what he's done for the Indian team in the last couple of years, I rate him more than the other ones. Gilchrist was probably more talented as a batsman, and wicketkeeper-wise, we don't know how to judge wicketkeepers about dismissals or we can't.
Tepo's got an opinion here.
Yeah, no, definitely Kumar Sangakkara by far the greatest, I think, of all time. No one
Based
comes
on
I say Dhoni.
stats. He's behind the stumps. He's profound. You say Dhoni?
I say Dhoni because of the body of work and how his longevity and how he is basically galvanizing. And he was a perfect fold for a guy like Tendulkar, who's been called the GOAT. And he was a leader of the team.
Yeah.
And he's led the team. And he never shied away from leadership. That's what I like about Tendulkar. Sorry.
MS Dhoni.
MS Dhoni. I think MS Dhoni, for me, I don't care about the stats. Because
The stats have to come to play sometimes.
But I think Dhoni is still playing. He's in T20s. Have you seen his bat speed? He's got that shot that he plays, that fly. I think Dhoni. But I might be wrong. But I agree with what Tsep was saying. But I think Dhoni.
It's a personal.
What I like about MS Dhoni is that he's sort of made. He sort of panned out the future for Indian cricket,
Yeah.
and he's not an ego guy. So he was like, okay, I can hand over the captaincy,
And
but
still
still
play.
be around to make sure that the succession
Not
plan
a lot
goes
of
through.
athletes can do that.
Yeah, I think so. He's a complete cricketer, and he's a gentleman of the game.
Now, the big rugby stories to come out of this week was Peter de Villiers being named the Zimbabwe rugby coach. I want to get the gentleman's take on that. James?
PD had to get a job, guys.
Eventually.
He had to get a job. Look, we can joke about and say whatever. PD had to get a job. I think he's been blackballed. We all know it's the unwritten thing. He's been blackballed not to get any job.
It's sort of that post-Springbok.
Yeah, post-Springbok.
Springbok.
Look, if you look at our last 5 Springbok coaches, okay, Jake White has been coaching all over the world. And
Heineken Meyer.
Heineken Meyer, where is he? Where's Heineken Meyer?
I think he's at the Bulls.
Is it the Bulls? Somehow, because that's his union.
Yeah.
I'm sure the Southwestern District would have given him a job because he comes from there. But PD, Zimbabwe, I don't know what is he going to do in Zimbabwe. Are they going to qualify for the World Cup? I wish him well, but I don't know.
That's what I was going to actually comment on, is that what's happening with Zimbabwe rugby. First of all, they were on the 7th circuit a couple of years ago. They dropped out. Now we see Uganda in there. So I mean, what is he going there to do? What's his objectives? What is
Is there a program?
his
Is there a
mandate?
plan?
Yeah. What's his So I think we have to wait and see. But PW is a good coach. He proved it as a Springbok coach, and as Thomas said, he was blackballed. And I think that's just the nature of the game in South Africa.
Just found it hard to get a job after he was one of the best coaches around.
And on the flip side, guys, think about it. Umakaya was coaching Zimbabwean cricket. Somebody we were very close to, and that didn't end so well. So I just, for PD's sake, as a good coach, I just hope it's fruitful for him. But I would have loved to see him in South African rugby because he was coaching under 21s before. I would love to see him because he's got the know-how, he's got the intel to be a coach.
You know what's so funny is people forget about Peter de Villiers was the Falcons coach that brought up people like Etienne Bota and
Definitely.
Adrian Jacobs, and he took a team that was out in the East Rand, pretty minnow to call it, and they used to compete and they used to play good rugby. I'm a fan of Peter de Villiers. I mean, I think he's a bit quirky and funny, but I think he's got what it takes to be a good coach, and yeah, I wish him all the luck. I think he can do a good job there.
I think we'll have to see in the next few months what happens in that sphere. But as we say, we wish him all the best for that job.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, for Pete Davis' sake, he's a good guy. But, somehow swept away by
a raw deal.
Yeah, he got a raw deal.
Yeah.
Right, let's bring it back slightly to something else that happened this week. SA Rugby announced their Players Awards for 2017. And we see Malcolm Marx pick up SA Rugby Player of the Year and Young Player of the Year. First time someone's picked it up for the same year since Ashwin Willemse. Gentlemen, you quite happy with that selection? I know Sia Kolisi was there and thereabouts and he had a good season.
You want to start?
I'll start. I think, look, these awards, we've always got issues with the awards. I mean, he deserves it because the Lions did well in Super Rugby. They've been, and obviously, Springbok-wise, he did very well. I mean, we might say he had some competition, but he's a good.
He was the deserved winner.
It's just awards, SA Rugby awards, but we've got bigger issues, I think.
Malcolm Marx for me, great player, but I think he still needs to do his basics well. He's known for fetching, almost being the fourth flanker, but is he hitting his line-out jumpers? And that's his primary role. That's his core job. And I think if he just works on that a little bit more, he'll be. I mean, he's a good player. He's an excellent player. But I mean, if you can just work on his line-out throwing, I think, yeah.
I think it was so evident in a couple of key games. I think under pressure, he buckled. He buckled under pressure when we needed him to find his line-out. That's the only problem that I think it will grow because he's still a young guy.
Still a very young.
Still a young guy, and I think in South African rugby circles he's protected. I mean, we've got other hookers in this country. I think the one thing South African rugby has is hookers. I think we've got
enough to go around.
Enough to go around, and I just hope that next year he'll probably be playing for some French team, Toulon.
No, let's hope that we keep him him in the country here. He's young and he's a great player. I think he's had a solid season if you can look at it that way. He's one of those players who had a consistent season.
But now, can I ask you something next? Is he the best hooker for the Lions? Because
it's a good question.
Because we know that there's other players in the Lions. I mean,
Teko, what's your take on that? Is he the best player?
I don't know much about what happens in the forwards there. I try to stay away from that. But I mean, I rate him. I mean, he's been on the books since I think at school. He came out of school straight into provincial rugby. I remember he had to get permission to play provincial rugby because he was so young. So he's got it. He's got what it takes.
But sorry to disrupt you. He came out of nowhere because who was the main hooker in the...
Robbie Coetzee, I think.
Robbie Coetzee. For me, Malcolm Marx came out of nowhere and he took his chance. And I just hope he can maintain it. But I'm sure he's going to play.
Add to his skill.
I like the fact that he has that sort of fourth flanker feel and look and feel. He takes the ball up well, he runs hard, and he steals a lot of ball. But as I said, his primary role is to hook and to throw the ball in and to get us the ball back, basically.
Yeah, let's hope we keep him in the country one.
Is he better than Bismarck though?
Oh.
Whoa.
That's
I think you could be.
Is he better than Bismarck? Because the thing is, we've all got this.
Bismarck set the benchmark.
Bismarck set the benchmark. And is he better than Bismarck?
I don't think currently, but I think give him a year or two and I think he'll be better than Bismarck. Yeah.
But now here's another question. If we had a choice, do we choose Bismarck or him?
Oh, you're saying Bismarck isn't currently now?
Yeah.
Why can't he come back? Wow, that's a big one. I didn't even think of that.
That's throwing the cat in the
And I haven't seen Bismarck play for a while, so
really?
Yeah, I haven't actually watched any of the top 14 or that much of it. So I'd like to actually watch some and see how busy he's doing that side.
Right, ladies and gentlemen, I think we'll give Malcolm Marx a few years and then we can have another discussion of is he really better than Bismarck or not. Great game last night between Wales and England. England just winning 12-6. I think they're on a 15-game winning record home in the Six Nations. Gentlemen, can this team be beaten right now?
I think Eddie Jones coaches not to lose. If you watch the way they played yesterday, they were coaching not to. They were playing not to lose. I think they do all the basics right. If you look at England and you watch them play rugby, scrum, line out, defense, they do very well. Not offensive as we would like, because we like attractive rugby, but they can be beaten by a team that can be imaginative and break their key, their tight 10. But look, the game was just decided by a few things, by a lot of goal kicking and controversial.
The try, no try.
But I think England can be beaten. I'm not scared of them in the World Cup, but their style of play is not to lose.
But I really, just before you get there, Tebo, I want to touch on that because there was an interesting debate on Twitter is that they won ugly last night. As a coach, you've got one mandate, play and win. So, but there's a guy maybe upstairs going, I need to fill the seats and play better style of rugby. That's not your problem. You want to win. Sometimes you've got to win ugly.
I'm a big Eddie Jones fan. I think he's, his innovation and the way he's thinking. And even if you look at the game, England scored 2 tries against two penalties. So I think they were always comfortable in the game. If that try had been allowed, it would have been maybe a cat among the questions. But Eddie Jones is forward thinking. He's got new innovation. They're running. They're doing everything. They're big. They're strong. They look fit. They play high tempo rugby. It's exciting to watch them. As you said, they're not attractive as anyone would want them to be. They're not flamboyant or anything, but they do their basics well.
But I mean that first try by Johnny May was pretty special as well. Look, it gave me a bit of New Zealandist type rugby.
They've got the skilled players. That's one thing that people underrate about England. They've got the skilled players in key positions. I mean, if you look at their back three, the fullback and the wings, they've got the pace. They've got the pace, and which is what in world rugby these days. World rugby has become New Zealand because of how much we love All Blacks. But England, what they've done is they've got a system where everybody plays in that Aviva Premiership. They don't pick anybody outside the Aviva Premiership, so they know what they've got. If you look at even at the under 21 level, they've got the players. They always work well there. So they've got a plan. And Eddie Jones just enhances that with what they're well coached.
And his plan is the World Cup. That's what he's slowly working towards.
I think the only way we're going to know is when they come here in June. And
look, I think
we'll see what they've got.
I think when they come here in June, that's going to be the test for them. And I think they're going to do well. I think they're going to beat us.
And a test for us, yeah.
Because of how organized they are. Yesterday, for 40 minutes, I was watching that game and I was like, you know what? These guys don't back down. They do everything.
I think it's attention to detail.
No.
I think we saw, photos going around of Eddie Jones in the country. That's a coach coming to sort out a few things and check do a recce, basically. So the attention to detail is definitely there.
Yeah. If you watch the clips on YouTube, you can see that even the way they're training, it's different. They're running up hills with weighted vests, and so they're doing this whole new sort of new age training, and that's Eddie Jones. I think that he brings that new sort of flair and out of the box thinking. And I'm looking forward to seeing the Six Nations how they do. I think they'll clean up there. I don't think no one will touch them.
Right. I think Ireland is going to give them a rough time because Ireland is going to ask questions that Wales didn't ask, and I think that's going to be. I don't know if it's going to be played in Dublin or in Twickenham, but I think that's going to be the key game. England have got the players, guys. I think we know that.
I like also the forward, how they're mixing up forward, Farrell and Jamie Joseph. Just those three guys are running the game, the behind the back passing.
Yes.
it's quite impressive, and they all know what they're doing at every single ruck or every single maul. They know exactly how to move the ball, how to shift it, and where to shift it. And it's going to be exciting. I mean, it's going to be exciting for them when they come here. It's going to be our biggest challenge, I think, that we've had in a while.
And their best hooker is a substitute. Their best hooker, the captain is a hooker, right? The same situation we had with
A few years back.
John Smith. They've got the same situation, guys, where they've got a captain that Eddie Jones likes because he galvanizes the team. But their best hooker is sitting on the bench and he comes on. But we don't put the captain on the tight head. so I like England. I think they're going to beat us in June, for sure, because I think we've still got a lot of issues in South African rugby. I don't know whoever's going to be our coach. We're going to talk about that later on. What's going to happen?
All right, I think we touched on it slightly yesterday. We saw Warren Gatland infused in the post-match conference. Try or no try?
Try.
Definitely. Downward pressure.
Try.
How badly did the TMO get it wrong though? So
I can understand how he got it.
That's why we have a TMO. You know, the ref goes, I'm not 100% sure. Let's take it upstairs.
I've got a hot take on that. I think he made a no call because he didn't want to influence the game. Because if you look at referee decisions that happens in all of sport, like that guy probably knew he didn't want to make that call, especially at Twickenham.
But that's why we have those guys. You're in a hot seat. You've got the replays. You've got the technology. You shouldn't be influenced about what else is going on around you. Make the call.
But it was not conclusive. The naked eye shows us the guy touched the ball, but now there was somebody on top of the ball.
Isn't that where technology comes into play, where you can zoom in and out and really make a conclusive TMO decision?
He played it safe. He had to play it safe.
That's not his job, though. His job
It's not his job. I know. We agree on this, but that guy probably said, I don't want to be in the newspapers in England after
made this call.
Yeah.
He didn't want any part of it.
I think this is actually, if we flip to football, it's going to be a big talking point next season. You know, when that comes into play, because if we can't make those bold decisions as the TMOs, I mean, they've got all the technology at their disposal to make those game-changing decisions. Because I think Wales scores a try there, the whole dynamic of the game changes in the second half.
That's the thing. The thing is now, sport has become such a factor to people. Everybody is so emotionally attached to decisions. And that guy, I could see he didn't want any part of the thing. So now, it's going to happen in soccer as well. It's going to happen and we're going to be...
All right, I think we all agree that it was a try, and Wales were out, shame, poor Wales, if we should call it that. But I think they did a good showing for themselves. They played well. They played some running rugby, and we'll have to see them against.
12-6 is a good score, and I called it by 20, so they clearly got it wrong. But yeah, Wales will
we won't hold you to your predictions next time. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I think we all agree that England will run away with the Six Nations. Now it's just to see who will give them the good test.